Welcome, coin collectors. In today's video, we're diving into the world of Washington quarters, but not just any quarters. We're uncovering the top 5 most expensive and ultra-rare Washington quarter dollars that are worth big money. Stay tuned to find out if you might be holding a treasure. Let's take a quick step back in time. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by artist John Flanagan, the coin features a portrait of the first president on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. For over 90 years, the Washington quarter has been a symbol of American currency, circulating widely and appearing in various designs throughout its long history. But some of these coins have gone through a few interesting changes that make them stand out and push their value into the stratosphere. Alright, let's kick things off with one of the most fascinating eras in U.S. coin history, the 1967 Washington quarter. Normally, every quarter has a mint mark on the reverse, which tells us where it was made. There are 3 possible mint marks, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and no mark at all for Philadelphia. But here's where it gets interesting. The 1967 quarter was struck in Philadelphia, and yet, it has no mint mark at all. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter so much? Well, the mint mark on a coin is a big deal for collectors. It tells them where the coin was produced, and it's one of the main factors that can influence a coin's value. When a coin is supposed to have a mint mark and it doesn't, that's when the magic happens. It becomes rare, and rarities like this don't go unnoticed. In the case of the 1967 quarter, this mistake was significant because Philadelphia had produced these coins without mint marks that year. While the rest of the quarters were either minted in Denver or San Francisco, these Philadelphia quarters were simply blank, no mint mark. So, when collectors first noticed this, it became a big deal. Coins like these, which are missing such a key feature, are a collector's dream, because they're just so rare. So why is this error so valuable? Well, when you find a coin like this one, a 1967 quarter with no mint mark, you're holding something that wasn't supposed to be. It slipped through the cracks of the minting process, and because of that, it's now a highly sought-after item for serious collectors. Depending on the condition of the coin, it could be worth a small fortune. In fact, some 1967 quarters have been known to fetch up to $7,000. That's right, a 1967 quarter that's missing its mint mark could be worth thousands of dollars today. And that's what makes this coin so special. What was once a simple mistake is now a prized piece of history. If you come across one of these rare gems, it's definitely worth holding on to or getting appraised by a professional. It's an error that no coin collector would want to miss. Next up, we've got another gem from the world of rare quarters, the 1969 Washington quarter. And guess what? It's another no mint mark error. You might be thinking, wait, didn't we just talk about one of these? Well, yes, but this time, it's a different year, and yet, the rarity is just as interesting. Now, here's what makes the 1969 quarter so special. Most of these coins were supposed to have been minted in Denver, which would have meant a D mint mark on the reverse side. But, in a strange twist, some of the 1969 quarters were struck in Philadelphia, just like the 1967 quarters we discussed earlier, and they were produced without any mint mark at all. So, what's the big deal? It might seem like a small mistake, but missing a mint mark on a coin that was supposed to have one creates something much more valuable than you'd expect. Rarity is key here. Imagine you're a collector hunting for a Denver minted 1969 quarter, and instead, you find one that doesn't have the mint mark at all. You're holding a rare, unexpected piece of coin history. Here's why this matters. Collectors are always on the lookout for these types of errors, especially ones from years when coins were clearly supposed to have a mint mark. When you come across a 1969 quarter with no mint mark, you're not just finding an old quarter, you're finding something that shouldn't be there. That's what makes it so valuable. The 1969 no mint mark quarter is a prime example of how errors can add significant value to coins. And when you get into the world of coin collecting, rarity is king. These coins, like the 1967 quarters we talked about earlier, were unintentional mistakes in the minting process, and that makes them incredibly sought after by collectors. So, how much is this error worth? Well, it can vary depending on the condition of the coin, but a well-preserved 1969 no-mint mark quarter can bring in around $3,290. Not bad, right? For a coin that originally was worth just 25 cents, you could be looking at thousands of dollars if it's in great shape. It's incredible to think about how something so simple as a missing mint mark can turn a regular quarter into a rare, high-value collector's item. This is exactly why coin collectors spend so much time sifting through coins, looking for those tiny details that make all the difference. So, if you've got any 1969 quarters lying around in your collection, it might be worth taking a closer look. You never know, you could have a rare one on your hands, and if it's in good condition, it could be worth a lot more than you think. Alright, let's jump ahead to 1973. Now, you might think we've covered all the missing mint marks by now, but if you're a serious collector, you know that the world of rare quarters has more to offer. The 1973 Washington quarter is another prime example of how a small minting error can lead to a big payday for the right coin. In 1973, the Philadelphia Mint made a few Washington quarters that were completely missing the mint mark, just like the ones we've seen before. This time, though, it was a little different. While the majority of the 1973 quarters were struck in Denver, some from Philadelphia slipped through without the D for Denver, or any mint mark at all. So, what happened? Well, the minting process was flawed, and this small error led to a bunch of quarters being produced in Philadelphia with no mint mark whatsoever. As you can imagine, collectors quickly took notice. Now, the 1973 no-mint mark quarter is one of the rarest and most sought-after Washington quarters. These quarters were intended to have a mint mark, as they were supposed to come from the Denver Mint. But when Philadelphia produced them without the mark, it created a unique error. And in the world of coin collecting, unique errors are what make coins valuable. The 1973 no-mint mark quarter has become a holy grail for many collectors, especially those who focus on minting errors. It's one of those coins that turns up rarely in circulation, and finding one in decent condition is no easy feat, but for those who do find one, the reward is huge. So, how much is this mistake worth? Depending on the condition, a 1973 quarter with no mint mark could fetch up to $6,000. That's right, a coin that was originally worth just 25 cents could now be worth thousands, simply because of a minting oversight. Of course, as with any rare coin, the condition matters. If the coin is in pristine condition, it'll fetch top dollar, but even one with some wear can still be worth a pretty penny. The rarity, combined with the error, is what makes this 1973 quarter so special. So, next time you're sifting through your coin collection or looking through a handful of quarters, don't overlook the 1973 Washington quarter. It might just be one of the most valuable coins in your collection, and with the right condition, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Now, let's talk about a coin that's not so much an error from a missing mint mark but rather an issue with the die used to stamp the coin. This one's for the serious collectors, the 1974 D Washington quarter. And this isn't just any ordinary coin. No, this one comes with a fascinating, and rare, flaw, a deep die crack. So, what exactly is a die crack? Well, during the minting process, the design of the coin is struck onto the blank piece of metal using a die. Over time, or due to pressure, the die can develop cracks. In the case of some 1974 D quarters, these cracks appeared on the die itself. When that cracked die was used to stamp the coins, it left a noticeable distortion in the design of the coin. These deep die cracks caused some major irregularities in the design. So, instead of the smooth, crisp details we expect from a normal quarter, the design was distorted. And this wasn't just a small flaw, the crack left a significant mark on the coin, making it stand out from the rest of the 1974 D quarters. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, collectors are always looking for unique coins that tell a story. A deep die crack is something that makes a coin one of a kind. It's an imperfection that wasn't supposed to happen, and that rarity is what makes it so valuable. These die cracks don't appear on every 1974 D quarter, and they're especially rare when they're as deep and noticeable as the ones we're talking about today. The more pronounced the crack, the more sought after the coin is by collectors. And if you happen to have one of these quarters in pristine condition, you're looking at a pretty hefty reward. So, how much could a 1974 D quarter with a deep die crack be worth? If you've got one in perfect condition, it could fetch up to a whopping $11,000 at auction. That's right, a 25-cent coin could be worth $11,000, simply because of a flaw in the minting process. It's not just about finding a coin. It's about finding a rare coin with a flaw that only a few lucky collectors have the chance to own. This is the kind of discovery that makes coin collecting so thrilling. A coin like the 1974 D with a deep die crack is a top-tier find, a true treasure for anyone who's passionate about Washington quarters. So, next time you're looking through your quarters, pay close attention to those details. A coin that might seem like just another ordinary piece of currency could end up being worth a small fortune. And who knows? You might be lucky enough to find a 1974 D with a die crack of your own. Finally, let's talk about a 1982 quarter, but with a twist that makes it far more interesting than your average coin. These quarters were meant to have the standard mint mark for the Denver Mint, the D, but some were struck with a mint mark that didn't quite make the cut. Either the D was incorrectly placed, or it wasn't fully stamped at all. So, what happened here? Well, while the 1982 quarter was produced at the Denver Mint, a small error occurred during the minting process. Instead of the mint mark being placed perfectly, it ended up being off-center, weak, or incomplete. It's one of those little mistakes that, while not obvious at first glance, can make a huge difference in the coin's value. Now, you might wonder, why does something as small as a misaligned mint mark make this quarter so valuable? Well, the answer lies in the rarity of such mistakes. Coin collectors love errors, especially ones that affect something as important as the mint mark, which identifies where the coin was produced. Even though the coin was struck in Denver, that little misstep in the minting process creates a coin that's unlike any other. It's a perfect example of how small, seemingly insignificant errors can create a huge demand among collectors. And this D mint mark error has become one of those sought-after mistakes that coin enthusiasts can't get enough of. So, how much can a 1982 quarter with this mint mark error be worth? Well, depending on its condition, it could fetch up to an incredible $9,000 at auction. That's right. A 25-cent coin could be worth thousands of dollars just because of a slight issue with the mint mark. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a mint mark error can make a coin so valuable. The key is in the rarity. These mistakes don't happen every day, and they're often hard to spot unless you're looking closely. For collectors, these errors are like hidden treasures, waiting to be discovered. So, the next time you're flipping through a pile of quarters, take a closer look at the mint marks. You might just find an error that could turn your pocket change into a small fortune. There you have it, 5 incredibly rare and valuable Washington quarter dollars that are worth big money. Whether it's a missing mint mark, a die crack, or a minting mistake, these coins hold a special place in the hearts of collectors and are worth keeping an eye out for. If you have any of these coins sitting in your collection or your change jar, you could be holding a small fortune. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button for more coin tips, tricks, and treasure hunts. Who knows, you might just discover your own fortune. Until next time, happy collecting.